Solving absolute value equations. In example 5, we're asked to solve for x, and we have 2 times the absolute of x squared minus 1 equals to the absolute of x. So this is a quadratic equation. I'm going to write it in standard form. So we start by writing it as 2 times the absolute of x squared minus the absolute of x, which I took across the equals to sign, minus 1, and it must equal to 0. So I'm going to solve. My first one would be if x is greater than or equal to 0, that would be my restriction, because to find my restriction, I'm going to let x equals to 0, and then I work out for the positive. So if x is greater than or equal to 0, what happens then is you're going to have 2 times x squared minus the positive x minus 1 equals to 0. So you have 2x squared minus x minus 1 equals to 0. So we have a quadratic which we factorize. So we got 2x and x, and the factors of 1 are 1 and 1. So my middle term is negative, so that will be minus and that will be plus, and that equals to 0. So my solution is x equals to negative a half or x equals to 1. So cast your eye to your restriction. Your restriction says you want all values of x for x greater than or equal to 0. So obviously x cannot equal to negative a half. So the only solution here is x equals to 1. So now we do the solution for x less than 0. So then my equation, remember my equation was, I'm just going to rewrite it, the absolute of 2 times the absolute of x squared minus the absolute of x minus 1 equals to 0. So if x is negative, I'm going to have 2 times minus x squared minus x, because x is negative, minus 1 equals to 0. So again, I have 2x squared plus x minus 1 equals to 0, a trinomial which can be factorized. So the factors of 2x squared are going to be 2x and x. The factors of 1 are 1 and 1. My middle term is positive, so that will be plus and minus. Right, so my solution is x equals to a half or x equals to negative 1. Look at your restriction. You want all values which are less than 0, so x cannot be a half. X has to be negative 1. So your solutions are x equals to 1 if x is greater than or equal to 0, and x equals to minus 1 if x is less than 0.